We're going to call the meeting to order and start please with our land acknowledgement.
We would like to acknowledge that the Capital Region is located on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral lands of the Innu, Anishinaabe, Anisininu, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and is the homeland of the Red River Métis. We also acknowledge Shoal Lake 40, Treaty 3 territory, sources water to the city of Winnipeg. We are committed to working in collaboration and partnership with First Nations and the Red River Métis in the spirit of truth and reconciliation.
Thank you. We'll then look to approval of the agenda, so I'll entertain a motion for that, please. Delmer, thank you. Janice seconds. Are there any additions or deletions that anyone needs to bring to bear? Hearing none, then all in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. Thank you. We then have meeting minutes of our previous meeting. They have been distributed to us. Is someone prepared to move for acceptance? Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Ken. Any questions? None being heard, then all in favor? And again, that is unanimous and carried. Approval of consent agenda. There's a subpoint under there of the financial report. So I'll ask for approval for the consent agenda. So thank you, Janice. Second. Delmer, I think, are there any questions? None heard, all in favor? Unanimous. So Natalie, please.
Would you like me to speak to it a little bit? Or?
If there's notes you've prepared, we'd love to hear it.
Just a few notes. They are noted on the financial itself, the report. So note one, you'll see the staff wages are currently a little bit over budget, and that's really due to the fact that we haven't received our FCM funding for reimbursements yet. A similar situation with note 2, where we haven't received the associated can export funding reimbursement. We have a note 3, and this is really related to the variances in the IT expenditures, and this is largely due to expense categorization. So recent staff transitions, including the change in leadership and the onboarding of a new bookkeeper, have provided us an opportunity to review our classification practices. So we're working to streamline those processes, and then a few future financial reports should provide greater clarity and consistency. And finally, on note 4, the bank fee expenditures are currently exceeding budget, and this is primarily attributable to the interest charges that was incurred on corporate credit cards. So corrective measures have since been implemented, and we don't anticipate this being a reoccurring issue. Other than these items, there are no significant variances to report at this time, and we will continue to monitor the expenditures throughout the year.
Are there any questions? Just a question regarding the funding that is yet to come. Is it normal for it to come later in the year, or should it already have been received based on other years?
The FCM is reported on a biannual basis, so we are just actually filing for that report now for the first and second quarter, so we should be receiving that in a couple of coming months. Okay. Can export is a little delayed, so we'll have to look into why that's delayed.
Follow up on that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'll just one more call for questions.
No, good job.
Okay, then we're looking for a resolution to adopt the financial report. So thank you, Ken. Second, Shane. So again, final call for questions. None heard, then all in favor, acceptance of the financial report, and I have that as unanimous and carried. Thank you. 6 is board chair remarks. We continue to work on the timeline to get this plan into the hands of the minister for the 1st of January. We're grateful for all those that participated in the, I'll call it the survey or the presentation done at the end of June. We did receive some helpful remarks, and we're very much appreciative of those that took the time to make those points. They've been given to staff, and staff will be looking to implement them. We're looking forward to the board having a chance to review them as well and to make comments on them. And other than that, I think, we're still, next steps now is to look to the public hearing, and we're waiting for information from the province as to a date when they may wish to do that. Operations, then we'll go to there. So there's an update, Natalie, please.
Sure, yeah. Similar to what you just said, I just want to speak about the regional plan progress. So since our last meeting, we've continued to advance engagement phase 2. So in addition to the targeted sessions we had with member municipalities, the planners working group, the provincial partners through the technical advisory committee, we held a virtual public open house on June 25th. So the open house did create a great opportunity to hear directly from residents and stakeholders across the region. And as expected, the event generated a wide range of perspectives and feedback. So the input collected has been very valuable, as Myron has mentioned, and it will help us better understand community interests, questions, and concerns. It also provided some really good insight into the development of the regional plan and opportunities to refine our communications and our engagement approach as we continue through this planning process. The feedback also highlighted the importance of ensuring participants have access to clear and accessible information throughout the planning process. All legislative notice requirements for this engagement were met, and we continue to work on the regional plan with the direction and guidance from the board.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we don't need a resolution for that. That was just an update. We then have some matters, I'll call it closed session or in camera. Then we would come back for 9, or do we wish to continue the open part and then do that at the end?
I would maybe suggest we go through the closed part first.
Closed part first? Okay. So then I'm going to need a motion to move into camera, please. I have Delmer and Janice, all in favor, and that's unanimous and carried. So I'll just wait for tech here. Thank you. All right, we're back. Thank you everyone for your patience. We just had a few matters that were pertaining to staffing and legal matters that we needed to discuss, and we've done that. So we'll continue on with our agenda then. Business arising from previous board meeting. There was an update on the organizational name change.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on this discussion, just so that you know that it is still on our radar. So we have been gathering information needed to understand the implications, considerations, and potential processes that are associated with changing the name. So this work is underway, and we've started to develop some preliminary findings and a report for you. But we're not quite ready to report to you those findings today, but we do expect to have a more detailed update in the coming meetings. So stay tuned.
Good.
Okay, are there any questions on that?
No. Thanks for the update.
Okay, thank you. Under new business, we have one item on the agenda and one arising from the in-camera session. So we'll do the first one, member participation and withdrawal timelines.
Yeah. So in previous discussion, board members had requested additional clarity regarding the withdrawal provisions for member municipalities following a municipal election. So there was a common understanding that municipalities would be required to remain members until the regional plan reached its mandatory review period. And that was often interpreted as being 8 years after plan adoption. So we've completed a bit more detailed review of the legislative framework, and we can provide some additional clarity as it relates. So while a regional plan review must be initiated no later than 8 years following adoption, the board has the ability to initiate a review sooner. So once a regional plan is initiated, the review is initiated, member municipalities will then have the opportunity to consider their future membership within the WMR. So the important takeaway here is that municipalities are not automatically locked in for 8 years. This is because the board can choose to initiate the regional plan review before the 8-year mark, and members then have earlier opportunity to consider their membership overall. So this provides the future boards with flexibilities to determine when it's appropriate to undertake a regional plan review. And this will be a balancing act of, the performance of the plan, the interest of member municipalities, and the long-term stability of the organization. Ultimately, the timing of a regional plan review remains at the board's discretion, and it's subject to the legislative framework.
So just to clarify, if people want to pull out, they're not locked in for 8 years, they can pull out in 3 years, or?
It requires that the board decide to review the regional plan. That's the trigger. So
Okay, so the board, the majority has to decide to review it.
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Now, whether that's 8 years, whether the board wishes to follow the municipal election cycle and saying it'd be, because there was questions that had come up about tying future councils to current decisions. And, that might satisfy that question for some if it was every 4 years, for instance. But again, it could be in a year or two. That'd be at the board's discretion. Now, when you say subject to legislative, the very last few words you said, we check legislation, and there's nothing that's going to override or supersede the board's decision of when they want to review.
As it stands now, the way it's worded is that by 8 years. 8 years is your maximum period.
That's all they've done is set you have to. So much like when we're doing our development plans or our zoning bylaw review, they give us like a 5-year, you must do it. So it's kind of it's just a guideline. Okay, so are there any questions about this whole 8-year or less? Because I know there was questions from some board members on that.
Yeah, it still, I guess it still could be 8 years, I suppose, and at that point in time, really.
But that would be as per board, majority of board decision.
Yeah.
And for decisions like that, it would be a simple majority, right? Because how the voting structure is, just to be clear, there's the two components are the adoption of the plan and the budget, and everything else is by simple majority.
And that'd be majority of those present at.
Of the board members that are active or
present
that
at the
are
meeting.
present at the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, and or virtual.
Yes.
So you can't vote by proxy.
So in order for the other municipalities to have a vote in that, they would have to come back in and join.
They would have to be a board member in good standing.
Can you explain to me the ones that are coming back in, how that, or if there is, how that would work?
Sure. So if a municipality who is in the geography of the region decides to join again, so they would have to put a request, well, first they would have to get a resolution of council,
Yes.
hold a public hearing, and then they would have to submit that request to the minister, and the minister may allow them to come
I thought, yeah, I thought that was the process, okay? And that can take whatever time, right?
in. That's subject to the minister's
Yeah.
discretion.
Like, it's not gonna happen like right way after an election, it'll take some time, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and there's, public hearing would have all the
Yeah.
notification requirements and all of that, so.
I just wanted to clarify that.
But to get out, if you're in, to get out, you would have to wait.
After the election, you'll have to wait until the board decides to review the plan. And once that decision has been made, a notification is sent to the municipalities, who then have 180 days to decide whether or not they want to opt out. So that's 6 months roughly. And if you decide to opt out at that point, you have to have hold a public hearing, and then same process, submit a resolution of council, public hearing, submit that request to the minister. And again, the minister may allow you out.
Anything else? Okay, that was more for a point of discussion. So thank you, Natalie, for looking into that and clarifying, because I know there's been some information out there that it's mandated at 8 years. So I just want to ensure people understand that that would be disinformation, that it is not mandated at 8 years, that it is to the board discretion as to when they wish to review the plan. And that would be the timeline that then would be followed. So if you're hearing from anyone that it's mandatory 8 years, please know that from these comments here today that that would be considered disinformation. All right, we then have one matter as it relates to 10.2, and based on the in-camera session, we're looking at a resolution to formally ask the minister for an extension to the remittance of the plan from the January 1st, 2027 date.
Correct.
Okay, are you okay with that wording, or we have it on the video if it needs to be noted for the record later, but the resolution, as I understand it, that the board hereby resolution asks for an extension of the Minister of Municipal Affairs of Manitoba to extend the receipt of the WMR plan for a date later than January 1st, 2027. Is someone prepared to make that motion? Thank you, Shane. Is someone prepared to second? Janice, okay. Any questions, comments?
I guess the only comment I would say is I think that's important because of really the swearing in of new councils and the timeline. We don't know when every new council gets sworn in. Could be all the way to the end of November, then we're into December. We want to have a public hearing. It just, the timeline is so tight for January 1st, and because of the swearing in to be representatives, I don't know, the city doesn't swear in anyone, I think, till the middle of November. So we wouldn't have a representative here. We have to have a representative here. So I think, I think this is a very good resolution.
And again, just to give some background for those that might be online and wondering how this came to bear. So the plan itself is still under production. So some have asked why they didn't see the plan at the June public meeting or open house that was held virtually. And it's because we know that there will be several drafts of this yet to come. And we wanted to make sure that someone wasn't speaking from draft 1, someone speaking from draft 4, and that there would be confusion. So there is time that is still needed to be able to complete what will be the final draft to be able to be presented to the general public. And with the election, as we've said, we need to know who the board members are to give, if there's new appointments, to be able to come. And that's just going to take some time. So hence the understanding is, or the request is for the extension for the minister. That's how it's come to be. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
No, I totally agree with the extension. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of people. It gives them time to think about, for the new people on council, for them to think about what's being presented, and they don't have to make a decision or whatever that they might regret later. So I think it's the best step right now for this board.
Okay. one last call, questions or comments?
Good comments all around.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second, so then I'll call for the question, please, all in favor. Okay, and that is unanimous and carried, so Natalie, if you don't mind, I don't know if there's a sign or a virtual signing or an actual signing that we need to do, you can sign whatever letter it is you need done.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful, okay. That takes us to the end of the agenda as I see it, so I'll just ask for the meeting to be adjourned, please. Motion, Janice and Ken, all in favor? And we are unanimous and carried. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Enjoy your summer.